Hello and welcome to Paper Tuesdays. Mike, what episode is it?
Oh, it's 59, I think.
59.
The numbers are getting big, aren't they?
We're getting up there, alright.
Oh, yes, there we are. And now we've Seán Sheridan with us. How are you, Seán?
Welcome,
Well,
Sean.
lads, how's it going? Thanks a million for having me on.
Great to have you.
Good to be here.
And Marc, you kind of had a friendship that in Pints and Gory.
Pints
Is
and
that
Gory.
right?
Yeah. That's how I met most people now. I'd say Gory is just French's.
Right.
Back at French's.
And what is it that made you think that, there's a podcast in the three of us?
Sean's very easy to get on with, I think. He's he's a very lovely chap and he's a good talker too. So I reckon he'd be a good podcast guest.
Yeah.
There's always been great conversations, beer-fueled conversations, but good conversation at the same time.
Yeah. He was recommended by Conor Moore.
Oh, well, that's the highest of recommendations. Namaste.
Shout out Conor. And he's back doing drumming and Gory now as well.
I was there on Friday
Were
night.
you?
It
You
was
went?
class. And shout out to Gavin Stamp, whose birthday it was, and shout out. And he was there with the woman. And happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Gavin.
But it was great. I couldn't believe how an hour of drumming could be so entertaining. It was just, and it was so different. And I loved how there was such a difference when he was doing the bowron and then doing the rain drum and then doing a bit of the bongos as well. And it was like, I don't know, you felt channeled up in the middle of Gory Little Theatre.
Did he have the little spaceship thing?
Yes.
He did?
Yeah,
What
that's
did he
the
play
rain
on
drum.
that?
I don't know.
No.
I don't know the name of it now. What he played, but it was good now. It was very good. I really recommend it.
Yeah, it's the variety he brings to it though, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, he's on the kit, he's on the, I suppose on the bongos, and I remember the night of the festival he did, he was on stage, was it last year or the year before? And I think he did he was on the bongo, did the djembes and the bongo song, and the whole street was alive.
Yes.
With his music, so
Seán,
yeah, unbelievable.
This touches on the fact that you have a musical past as well. You used to play the flute. Do you still play the flute?
Yeah,
Thanks to Breed Brown
on and
for telling me.
off. On the session, I suppose. When I'll play it every now and then. I don't practice as much as I should. And don't play it as much as I should anymore. But played a lot. Would have played with Conor as well in group of Kyols and Cayley bands. Actually played with Breed as well there. So there's been definitely was very involved, I suppose, especially from kind of the age of, I suppose, 10 all the way through teenage years, would have studied it in school and that as well. It was probably a path, I was only chatting about it the other day, it could have been a path that I could have ended up going down, had I not went down the engineering way, but for sure. Not a lot of people was maybe associate me with it, but I suppose,
And what made you get the graw for Irish music?
I think it was, I suppose it'd have to be attributed to John O'Brien, fifth class school teacher. John taught me, tin whistle, and I suppose I had things progressed pretty quickly playing on the whistle, and I think sort of the traditional flute then was kind of, that was sort of the natural progression, and I played the pipes then for a while, the uilleann pipes afterwards for a couple of years, but I hadn't got a set. I had a set out on loan, so that didn't really take off. But played loads over the years, and it was just something that progressed kind of naturally. It worked out.
Do you still play the double bass?
No, but I am going to pick it up again.
Make a comeback?
Yeah, I'm going to make a comeback. Yeah.
I love that. I love that. It was the dancing that got me really with the double bass. It was like you'd get it and you'd give it a twirl and then you give yourself a twirl. And
I was in group of y'all with the spinning, but I listen. I only choose when I choose when or when not to listen, basically, because I was told after spinning it once at the competition, that was great, Michael, but don't do it again. But I did it again. And it was only afterwards that someone told me that, you had been told not to do that. But no, there you are now.
And had you played it, did you play it classically? Or was it?
Started off classically.
Yeah, I think I remember that. Were you playing during school? Did you?
Yeah,
did you play during secondary school? I thought I remembered you playing. Yeah. Now that you say it, a lot of people have musical past that doesn't come up.
Speaking of which, so funny. Engineering, there's a lot of maths in that, is there?
Yeah, so I suppose I would have had a sort of an interest in cars, planes. My father's plumbing and heating, so I suppose, would have been always sort of going with him. And then with kind of strengths in maths and science in school, it was kind of, that was sort of, again, sort of fell into it as a career. I think, I don't know, I suppose I was probably, watching kind of documentaries. I don't know if there was the moment that kind of sticks out to me as I wanted to do engineering was probably around 16, 17. I think I was watching a documentary about, I think it was either a British Navy ship build or a nuclear submarine build, and there was like electrical and mechanical engineers coming onto it, and I thought, oh, maybe, I thought, engineering was the thing for me. I was kind of inspired at that stage, but it wasn't really clear. I suppose like at 17, 18, it's very hard for anybody to know what they want to do, but I suppose that was probably the moment that I decided that could have been for me,
Yeah. No, it's just I've heard it before that there's a crossover between an interest in music and an ability for music and maths.
Really?
Okay, very good. Yeah. No, I didn't know that now, but yeah, I suppose like music would have been kind of there, and may have been something that I would have studied. I suppose I was probably conscious as well that there's a lot of really great musicians who don't end up making it. So maybe there was a safe element to going down the engineering road as well, but I mean, science was there. I thought about veterinary for a while as well, but yeah, engineering got there in the end.
Yeah, and you're 5 years now at the ESB, and I suppose all of the work and all is kind of overshadowed, I think, Sean, by the fact that now you're a dad, and that must change everything. All the other stuff kind of takes another place.
Yeah, for sure. I suppose like everyone is kind of maybe career focused until the children come along, and then everything changes, and I don't think and changes for the better. Like, it's absolutely fantastic, unbelievable, a miracle to bring new life into the world. But I suppose everything, there'll be probably no bigger change in anyone's life than to have a new baby and have a child and have a little thing that's dependent on you, like. But it's been brilliant. So yeah, Mila is 3 and Kai is 4 weeks old, so I don't know if you can see me behind the bags under my eyes. But a couple of hairy nights the last week or so, but I know it's been brilliant. The excitement is unreal.
It's great to hear you beam about it, because I'm sure there's a lot of stress and toil that comes with it, but to know that there's love behind it all is great.
No, well, I think, like, I suppose, look, there's probably an element of stress. I think also probably in the lead up, like, there's a lot of people focusing on reading books and kind of going to dad school, we'll say. But I don't think there's any, there's no book that can prepare you for the feeling, the love, and I suppose everything that goes with it, because every child is going to be different. I think probably the number one tip for anyone is to do the antenatal classes and listen at those, But like, I mean, unbelievable, and Nicola's at home, like, she's unbelievable as well, like with himself and with Mila. So it's all good.
Yeah, and you kind of started out with a new life in Tomrec.
So met Nicola, I suppose, just before lockdown last year, and went down, and I suppose she's in Tomrec, so she had she kind of has a house out the back of her mum and dad. So we I suppose as things progressed, then I made the move down there. It's always women that drag lads away from their from the home place. But it's set up down there. But look, a lovely part of the country, great place.
Recently signed with Tomrec United.
Recently signed, couple of training sessions, bit of fitness to get back, a few pounds to lose, but we'll get there.
Yeah, it must be. Well, I suppose it's similar countryside to like where you grew up on the hill of Tower Hill. Well, on the side of Tower Hill.
Similar, I suppose. Like, I'm only over the road, so I'm very familiar with this part of the country. I was only driving down the road, reminiscing about, I suppose, growing up down on Clone Beach, fishing in the Ahare River. But yeah, similar, I suppose, in that it's rural. You know, people probably think that it's a little bit more. When you hear Tom Brack, you think
Into the woods.
Yeah, you
somewhere
think
distant.
you think the back of beyond. But
Wild.
no, in fairness, like where we are there now, it's only about kind of 3 miles out of Fern, so you're central enough. You know, and it'd be similar. Distance to what I was from Gorey. But always good to get back and chat with the lads. Yeah.
You did some great diving into articles. Will we take one of them?
We'll take one. We'll go with my one. One of mine first.
Yeah.
Right. So, bit of local news, I suppose. First, so in this tribe, the most giant pot belly man becomes the most gorgeous man. So the bigger your belly, the more beautiful you are, which I think is right.
You think it's
Life would be a lot easier if it was that way, wasn't it? If you just got fat, that way you were the best.
We might try and get the image up on our socials or whatever, because it's this. Yeah, thank you, Mark. It's just
a lot. I suppose a lot easier maybe in the first world than the third world to acquire a pot belly for sure.
Yeah, there's no farmhouse burgers out in Kenya.
Yeah. It takes a discipline over there, yeah.
So, while Europeans and Americans fanatically struggle with every extra kilogram, the male representatives of the African body tribe try to grow the biggest belly amongst their tribesmen. Those who succeed become true heroes and get all sorts of preferences.
It's the original body positivity, really, isn't it?
Yeah, so they have this thing called the celebration of Kell. So, over several centuries of this way of life, the body tribe has developed a folk festival called Completion of Fat Men. It is held in the middle of summer and lasts for 1 to 2 days. Only men take part in it. Preparations for the feast begin several months in advance, and for those who have many cows, even half a year in advance. Only young and unmarried men can take part in the holiday. Having decided to participate in the competition of fat men, the man begins to eat only fatty milk and the blood of cows, refusing any other food. During this preparation, the man practically does not leave the hut and is actively gaining weight.
It's not for me.
It's not for you. It's interesting, isn't it? Like how we're completely the opposite, and we're all trying to lose weight and be fit and stuff. At Marc Halpin Fitness, shout out. I think we should all. There's something in it, isn't there?
Yeah, but I don't get it. I just,
I do.
Right.
I think I get it. So if you're a big fat man, it means you have resources. Surely, you have excess food.
Okay.
You're a strong hunter-gatherer. Now you might be greedy with it. You're probably not sharing.
It's a bit gluttonous.
Yeah, gluttonous is right.
Now, but like I was struck by, like, we think that, it's a straightforward lineage from the past to the present, and that, Socrates said, develop your bodily strength and beauty to their highest limit, and that's why, you go to the Marc Halpin. I don't know how this giant belly pot is actually developing a bodily strength, but maybe that's down to me. I don't see it.
Yeah.
I suppose in that world, you're kind of it's probably associated with wealth and security.
Security.
It's a bit like your man driving the Ferrari. Picking up women all over the place. It's a similar show, isn't it?
Yeah,
the belly.
The belly, get the belly out. Yeah.
That's a good one though, Sean. It is security, and is there's stability in that big mound. All right. Yeah. Yeah. Very interesting.
You're kind of showing that in that world, it's probably a show that where hunger is tragically, a big thing. That, that's not going to be an issue here. Look at me.
Yeah, because there's cow blood. We're fine. Yeah.
The next article then, Article 2, emergency crew rescues sex doll after mistaking it for a drowning woman. So, an emergency rescue crew hilariously mistook a sex doll for a floating corpse of a drowned woman off the Hanochi city on Japan's northeast coast. So it's unclear how the blow-up doll ended up in the water. Perhaps this once-devoted doll lover finally got fed up of his silicone soulmate.
Well,
however, another Twitter user who also documented the bizarre rescue chalked up the incident to illegal dumping of oversized trash, which is unsurprising given Japan's stringent laws concerning garbage disposal.
And it goes on to say, Mark, that you can give sex dolls funerals in Japan, doesn't it?
Thankfully, one Japanese company has devised a more tasteful, eco-friendly way to put one's inflatable paramours out to pasture. by throwing them a funeral, complete with candles, undertakers, and even mourning mannequins.
The Japanese, they're modern, aren't they?
Yeah.
A different world.
World.
I was going to say that I doubt the owner will be forthcoming, but maybe in Japan, maybe.
Maybe.
You never know.
They'd probably prefer to have dolls than actual people, wouldn't they? They're very technological out there.
They are.
Sorry, I'm fighting with a curtain here. I nearly fell over.
Yeah.
Could you see yourself now marrying a doll?
No.
No, I couldn't, Sean.
No, couldn't say. Couldn't say.
You?
No.
You thought about that?
No, I can hardly work a printer. I wouldn't know how to turn her on.
I don't know. It'd be very. You'd want to have you'd want to have some brain to be able to interact with a human, wouldn't it? Like for a doll.
They are going that way though, sure. These AI
they?
lads, you see them, like they look
Yeah.
like people, they talk like people, they react like people. Very strange. You see that? Was it Google or Facebook too? They found two computers communicate with each other independently,
Oh,
so they had
okay.
to shut them down.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, they put a stop to it.
Wow.
That's crazy, isn't it?
That is mad.
Just turn them off.
Yeah, plug them out. Set up for that.
Yeah, it's kind of, but there's all sorts of theories about huge data gathering experiments and huge to kind of, I suppose, drive this AI that they're looking for. Ultimately, I suppose computers to be able to make decisions.
Do you reckon they've already passed us out? Computers.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm willing to go with it, yeah.
Yeah, I think they have.
Do you think they're related to
Potentially.
UFOs and
AI? No, I think they're independent, are they?
independent, right.
Yeah, but aliens could be AI.
yeah? You actually found an article on aliens.
Did I?
Or no, that was Sean's found an article
Yeah.
about the US intelligence report. There was an RT article that there was a 9-page report that's been released. Now I think this is a smaller one of a larger declassified one. But it says that basically that UFOs are there, but they're not sure really if they're from outside space, outer space, or if they're coming from Russia or some other interfering country. Is there something else that you spotted in?
Yeah, no, I suppose just not sure about where they're coming from, but I think there's a lot of stuff going on. There's a lot of stuff out there around, I suppose, those kind of beliefs, it's
You're letting
it's
that
a
hang
mad-
there, Sean. Do you think do you believe in UFOs?
I think it's a real possibility. Yeah, for sure. I think if the universe, now we're getting very technical.
Go for it. Go for
We're
it.
getting very philosophical. I think if the universe is unlimited, there is a possibility for sure that there's other life out there.
There has
I
to be.
wouldn't rule it out. I think and if you look at it from a probability perspective, and if the universe is unlimited, like I think for sure.
Yeah,
For
I think it'd be
sure.
arrogant to think otherwise. For us to think that we're the only existence of life here on this little planet when there's so many others.
Yeah, like all it takes is the conditions to be right in another planet Earth somewhere else, and who knows, maybe they are, millions of years ahead with regard to technology.
Yeah.
It's
Yuri Geller.
it's interesting.
One of those, have you heard of Yuri?
No.
He's one of these guys who says England is going to win the match, and then England doesn't win the match. But he's one of these guru types, and he has posted on Facebook to say that while the US report doesn't conclusively say that there's outer space activity, but he says that the Israeli equivalent has knowledge of extraterrestrial activity. And Yuri says he can't say what he knows about the US. But he's convinced about that the Israelis know it anyway.
I don't buy it. You can't make a statement like that and say, I can't tell you how I know.
Alright.
I can say that about anything. Like,
It'd be interesting to see the basis for the article.
yeah.
I think
Yeah.
some sort of.
How do you see? What's your review on
Yeah, I'm
aliens?
happy for them to be here.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, why
shout
not?
out aliens. I'm open. I don't.
They're listening.
Nothing in this world is going to. Sorry.
Right, so all these alien sightings now are coming out while there's a global pandemic. And the last 3 global pandemics, there has been a sharp rise in alien sightings and UFO sightings. So the Black Plague, the other one before that, whatever it was, I think it was a Spanish flu or smallpox or something, there was a spike in.
I never knew that.
in UFO sightings. So is it people are being delirious, are people are being worried, or are aliens coming and planting pandemics on Earth,
Oh,
trying to control us?
that's a different question.
Are
altogether.
we like?
So you think
are we like sea monkeys for another existence?
No, I don't think so. I think if they're here, they're just here. You know, they're not
Keeping an eye.
Yeah, exactly. Touching base, Cheney Mac, they've lost it altogether.
We're like Kiora Mini Farm, and then the
Yeah.
aliens come and see us.
Yeah, I'd fall for that. Then. I don't get the idea that I don't see the negative, but yeah. Speaking of if aliens came here and they listened to Southeast Radio, I was listening to Southeast Radio today and I love it. I just love Tony Keogh's request show, and he goes and shout out to Mary who needs to get up. Jim says that she's in the bed long enough now at this stage, and then the next song is oh, don't forget me when I'm grey and old, and it just skips from like different riffs, and then there was a text in today and Happy Father's Day to but Father's Day was last week. What was going on? And there's no end to it. It's just great. But yeah, I wonder what the aliens make of that, because I find it fascinating anyway, so.
Are they tuning in on the long wave from from somewhere as Tony Keogh is a star in some bar up? Yeah.
Tony is one of those guys that, you know, he's kind of a bit of a celebrity. Like, I know maybe in Wexford circles he's a small celebrity, but like I met him once and I was taken aback by him. And Mark Manson, this is kind of linked to Mark Manson, says when you meet a celebrity, to not look at the celebrity or look at the people that are looking at the celebrity, because you will see in a completely different reaction. You will see them like light up as if like a whole candy store is opened up in front of them. So there's this idea of celebrity and how we engage with them as humans.
What makes someone a celebrity?
An aura, I think.
Aura. A following, I suppose.
But they have to have a way about them. They have to have like, people watch videos of Micheál Marc making a ham sandwich, and there's a reason for that. You know, there's a reason that there's some power there.
Yeah. Strange, isn't it?
Yeah, it's definitely interesting, and I suppose before kind of influencers, you know, people, there was probably some sort of reason or something extraordinary about somebody that, you know, they were a sports person, or they were a singer, or they were a rock star, they were a big political figure, that they became a celebrity. But I think now it's almost like, you know, any sort of fame and somebody is a celeb. Interesting that, you know, and also goes back, like there's a lot of kind of opinions out there as well that people are taking on board as fact, maybe because somebody is an influencer or not, you know, and it's not competency based stuff. It's purely like, I suppose it's you know, it's just that they got famous and this is their opinion on X, so I'm going to have the same.
It's all changed, hasn't it? Like Roz Purcell put up a post last week and she said, I think the message of it was that we aren't, if you know, you don't have to talk about other people when you're with other people. And I thought, wow, like basically that's just promoting us to do good behaviour. And like, yet she has a following, and you know, it's just weird how these things come back to like simple messages on our own behaviour.
Well, I forget what I was going to say there.
We were hitting a nice area here that I love.
Yeah, it definitely, and I think if you're not talking about other people, you know, you're talking about something. But as you say, like it's definitely the promotion of good behaviour in conversation. You know.
It's not always though. A lot of people are saying don't get vaccines and things like that on it as well. Like I can go on my phone now and like I can send a message to however many people watch my story. Yeah. You know, and I can say whatever I want.
It's the pace of it all as well.
Yeah.
It's instant.
That's it. And like as Sean was saying, like it used to be competency based, so people that would have a platform would have earned that platform through their work or whatever. You know?
Do we want that, Mark?
Do we want that?
Do we want
competency?
No, yeah.
Yeah.
You do.
Yeah, I don't think fucking idiots should be able to say whatever they want and
don't
influence
know.
other idiots. You know, like
This is where we
people
come
will
back to
find each other
constant-
on the internet and make these little groups and proselytize stupid fucking things, and then they all agree with each other.
Yeah.
Whereas before, these would have just been like your weird uncle who you don't invite over to like at Christmas because he says these weird things. But now he's found all these other weird uncles who have to say it at home too, and they've got on the internet, and now they all back each other up, and they just fucking feed into this thing, and then they don't get vaccines.
There is an argument for and against it. Like, I mean, there's the competency based like approach is probably best, but at the same time, you know, there are going to be other opinions that were potentially maybe silenced previously, or they didn't have a platform.
Yeah.
But like, I mean, years ago, say before social media, before you could go live, we'll say, like, I mean, there was, you know, you had to see that person in concert, or you had to meet them in person to know what was going on. I think, and it's probably a lot harder for celebrities now with, you know, anybody can take a video of you doing, you know, whatever, or where you are, and there's no privacy, you know, to that end with, I suppose, genuine celebrities.
Yeah, you get away with nothing.
But getting back to that idea of like having qualification or like I just don't like. I'd rather everyone be a journalist than only have a few journalists, because when you have only a few journalists, then like I texted you about the news the other day because I couldn't get over it. It was basically fear, uncertainty, dread, COVID.
New
we're a
variant.
year into this,
Yeah.
and yet we're still going with this. Like, and this is what's coming at us from our traditional channels. And is it because that they have to be seen as the authority because there's so much else going on that you could just go on to Twitter, but instead you're on the television for 30 minutes. So do you want to get that hit?
It has to be. News is a business as well, like, you know, and
Yeah.
every hour, don't they do the news on the radio? How many times is the news on the radio at RT? There's not that much stuff happening every day, that bad stuff, so they have to fucking say, what can we say and how can we make it as impactful so that we'll get people's attention? And they have to keep doing that every fucking day, every
One of the
single
news
hour.
reports was that there's no good news in that the travel date wasn't going to come earlier, but like it wasn't. There was no sign of it coming earlier. And like, you know, so it's just it's still bad, folks. 19th of July. You know,
It's still the same.
Yeah.
In the news, things are still the same. It's awful.
I think, COVID was probably an interesting reset, like on that concept, because whilst you had the opinions, you know, in the beginning, nobody knew what was going on, you know, and as it was coming out, and then all of a sudden you have an expert on the TV in Dr. Tony Holohan, you know, and everybody is turned to an expert for an expert opinion, you know, so that is, you know, and there's a competency-based element there. Like.
Yeah, sorry, John. No, I'm just thinking of this morning I saw that Buff Egan has announced that he thinks that Dr. Tony Toolan should be out. Buff is not happy with the outdoor dining scenario, and he thinks that indoor dining should be allowed. So that's the word from Buff. So there is the clash, all right, between Buff Egan and Dr. Tony Holohan. Which side do we take?
Yeah, I seen something on Instagram there yesterday as well about indoor dining, and someone was calling it a basic human right. Like, fuck off, like. What are they talking about, like? A basic human right. We've outside most of our fucking existence as human beings, like, deal with it.
Instead of food and water, it's indoor dining and water.
What is the difference? Like, it's walls.
Yes.
Actually, Mark, this is a great point to ask you to read a poem. You wrote a poem on outdoor dining.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
I wrote a poem.
This is great.
This never would have seen the light of day now had this not come up.
Yeah.
So, Outdoor Dining by Marc P. Halpin. Have you seen the cattle graze? I drive by, still amazed. Having bagels or something sweet. Breakfast in parking spaces, as if it wasn't on a busy street. That spot was meant for cars and bikes, not Michael Dwyer in his Nikes. Not to be mean, and if I am, I'm sorry. I feel the passerby watching from the ivory tower of his lorry. I'm sure it's worth it for the sake of sanity. Oh, no, I'm sure it's worth it for the sake of satiety. Maybe I'm a cynic, or maybe it's anxiety. I've had the foods, I'm aware they're tasty, but I know I'd make a pig of myself and be snapped by the lens of Ger Lacey.
No.
Unbelievable.
That's it, yeah. Because I had breakfast, was it? Yeah, we had breakfast there last week out in the street. It was very strange.
Which
Like the
establishment?
bin lorry went past when I was eating my fucking breakfast beside me.
That's not helping.
No, it's not. Your man on the side would grab the sausage.
That's a great poem, though. There's a lot of analysis there that
Isn't
that
there,
could be
Sean?
done.
Yeah.
We could see that one now on the Leaving Cert in a couple of years.
Satiety as well. I didn't even know it was a word.
Satiety.
Satiety
It's
even,
to
yeah.
feel full.
Ooh. Yeah.
Will we go with the third article?
Yes, that's fair. And I love how mysteriously your phone lies on top of the tarot deck.
Oh yeah,
We
we'll
might
get to that. We'll get to that
as well.
Yeah. We were meant to have James was going to call in to us today. Flood.
But he just sent us this flash flood. I know.
Oh, yeah, go on,
Here
go
we
on.
go.
Know something, lads. Penalties is no way to decide a fucking championship match. Grand for soccer. This is GA, right? Leave the GA to do what GA does. But when it comes to penalties in GA, just out. Wrong. It's not right. Bring back the replay.
It's raw there. Raw,
Yeah, that's
emotion.
I wonder had they won, would he be saying the same thing?
But this is a great way.
This is the future.
Get the man going.
Yeah, that's an interesting one. You'd have to agree with him to an extent. I think, like, are we being influenced by the soccer game here? You know, is GAA being influenced by soccer? You know, by kind of having that sort of a sudden death set up or a penalty set up.
There is a professionalization taking place, and I know it's been ongoing for years, but like I think it's only just becoming more intense as we go on. Like it's not going any other way anyway. Like.
No, I was talking about this yesterday, and they said they should do one penalty and a 45 and a sideline.
A bit of variety.
Yeah,
I like that.
he said soccer is for the English. Or sorry, penalties are for soccer,
Yeah,
and that should be sort of one of each.
yeah. There'd be a great excitement. Yeah, I could see that.
Next goal wins would be better, I think.
Well,
great.
it's similar to a sudden death situation in penalties, and so does that have to be? Does the sideline and the 45 and the penalty have to be taken by the same person?
Ooh, that'd be good, wouldn't it?
Have you got specialists then?
Yeah. I think that'd be a better way. It'd be far more entertaining, wouldn't it?
It'd be an Irish way.
An
That's
Irish
what
way.
makes it. That's what would make it.
Yeah, like, and that's kind of, I suppose, what I was getting at. Like, if you know, is the game being like there is an element of professionalism in, you know, seeing your club setups for sure, and you know, I suppose coming down from the intercounty setups from the county setups to the club setups, and for sure we're always going to move in that direction. But there probably is, you know, I think probably, you know, money. If money starts to come into things more with regard to, you know, if there was any sort of player salaries, or if players could be influenced by packages to play for different clubs, I think that's maybe there's an element of that going on as it stands, but maybe that's the point where it goes too far. But like at the end of the day, there's probably something about the replay, or, you know, a series of replays as happens in, you know, many ties. But it's an interesting one, definitely one for debate.
Yeah.
What do you reckon?
What do I reckon? I think it's probably a source of necessity at the moment because of COVID. You know, they're romping through them.
Yeah.
I think it's just a very sad situation that the lads lost, the minor footballers.
Yeah, it was very close, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Very close. It's had, that's the finest margin, like 4-3 on penalties
margin.
after extra time.
And just when you know how much work has gone into that squad, and how, you know, how much work behind the scenes and everything, and how promising the young lads are. But I suppose it's minor football at the end of the day, and I know
Sure, who cares?
It hurts James today, but you know, we all move on, and we'll become stronger as a result.
Yeah.
I'm
Win or
reminded
learn.
of we'll learn, and I'm reminded of when Marc said, and we'll move on, and we'll come out, find a circular way to move around this. And
Yeah.
very political.
Speaking of that, man's vanished penis returns, yet to start functioning. So the penis of a 52-year-old farmer vanished at a funeral ground. It has, however, returned, but is yet to start functioning again. The man with the returned penis has been asked to abstain from sex for a while. A 52-year-old farmer in the Cratchy East municipality of the OT region has had his penis returned after it mysteriously vanished, Joy News has reported. So this is from GhanaWeb.com. The returned manhood is, however, yet to start functioning. Narrating the incident, the younger brother of the farmer, Isifu Ayeliwa, said they were at the funeral when a stranger came up to them and complained of hunger. In their bid to serve the stranger some food, he suddenly touched the senior brother's manhood, and shortly after that, the manhood vanished. Speaking to Adam News, it has not returned, but I can't tell if it will function as it used to or not, he said, laughing. According to him, although the vanished penis has returned after search and traditional performance, he has been given some days to abstain from sex to enable the progress of work. He has not been permitted to have sexual intercourse at the moment, but he was optimistic that the numbers of days given the penis might start working again as never before. The suspect at the time, who was identified as Adams Kwasi, was taken into the police station for investigations when all efforts to bring back the manhood failed. However, the Karachi East Municipality Police Commander, DSP Abayagi, said the police hierarchy does not deal with spiritual matters but rescued the suspect from being assaulted. So a man put a curse on it, on your man's penis, and it's gone. It went then, but it's back. I don't know where he found it.
Some wake, wasn't it?
Some wake.
Some wake.
An eventful wake.
But I looked it up, and it's on a satire website.
No.
Ghana
Web, it's real
real.
news.
Yeah.
It's actually happened.
Yeah, it's right now.
How do you do that?
No. You'd get some fright, wouldn't you? I
So
don't know why,
there's somebody complaining of hunger. The guy that tries to help him, he puts a spell on him.
Biting the Venus, the feeds.
Yeah.
I can't help but notice back that you were burning
I was
sage
burning
last
sage,
night.
yeah. It
So
smells very like
are you
marijuana.
Oh, really?
All house smelled of weed afterwards. Yeah, me and Breed were burning the hair the other day, and I was wandering around and shaking it, and I went into all the rooms and getting all the cobwebs and all.
Are you doing a little dance? Or
I was, yeah.
Were you chanting
I
something?
was chanting, yeah.
Or were you chanting?
Ooh,
Marc,
up the rat. Fitness, yeah.
Wow, there's no end to the amount of rituals that we can have in our life, is there?
No, speaking of rituals,
Oh,
Sean has agreed to let me read his tarot cards. So, Sean, I'll say just a disclaimer, these carry very little weight and I have to give it to him. So,
Yeah, that's fair enough.
so
I want to know the interpretation of these.
no, I just Google them.
All right, okay.
So, Sean, I just want you to shuffle them and then pick out any 3 random cards. Any ones that you feel pulled to energetically.
Am I giving weight to these now?
Well, if they're good, you can. If they're not, that's why I'm saying it. If they're bad,
Yeah.
we should have burned the sage while we were doing this.
Yeah. Hey, among them.
Michael start chanting.
On the Simpsons movie where.
Okay,
you ever
3
see that
cards?
No.
3 cards, yeah.
3 cards. Okay.
So
Face down.
face down, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I don't know if I'm being pulled to these energetically. I'm randomly pulling them out.
All right.
Okay,
So we've
so
3
there's
cards
3.
there now. So this is your past, your present, and your future. So these are readings. What it says in this is going to contain what was in your past. This is what's contained in your present, and this is what's contained in your future. So with the past first, we have.
Just show it to the camera.
I'll be back in 1 second because I need to ask Breed what this is. What's that one?
I thought he was after being trained in this.
Right, so you got the 10 of Pentacles first, Sean. Ooh. 10 of Pentacles.
The suspense.
Michael, you got your cards right.
We
I
wait
did.
and see.
10 of Pentacles, tarot right.
I found them very interesting.
Right, so this is your past, Sean. So the 10 of Pentacles, in a general context, the 10 of Pentacles represents solid foundation, security and happiness in all areas of your life. Like the Pentacle cards, it is usually connected to financial or material issues, so you can expect especially good things in those areas of your life when it appears. This is also a good card to get in relation to family as it represents family responsibilities. the new baby.
Oh, very
Well,
good.
this is your past, actually. So I don't know what this means. You could find yourself tracing your ancestry or discovering your family tree when it appears you may be feeling very close to your family at this time, as the Ten of Pentacles can signify domestic harmony. Or you may be looking forward to a family event, celebration or gathering. This minor arcana card can represent being conventional and embracing the old school traditions. Life should be stable and settled when it appears in your tarot reading. So that's good.
Very interesting. That's a positive card by the sounds of it.
Were you ever drawn to your
As
family
little as I know. Probably, yeah. Probably over the years, yeah. But I suppose maybe there's probably a period in primary school or wherever where you're doing up family trees and stuff. So I don't know. I suppose, yeah, maybe we all are. But that's interesting.
No, we'll
of
go for
all
it.
the cards, it sounds not too bad.
Yeah.
Exactly, yeah.
And now your present. We have the Hanged Man.
Oh.
I actually do think this is good because I think I got it before. The Hanged Man.
Breed was floating in the distance there.
Yeah, this is...
Your spiritual counselor is within reach, Mark.
Right. So this is the Hangman general interpretation and meaning. In a general context, the Hangman tarot card indicates you're in a situation you're not happy with. The Hangman may also signify that you may be facing a dilemma and you're unsure what path to take. You need to step outside yourself and look at the situation from a different angle. Give yourself time to just relax. Stop being in control of things and just let them be. The correct course of action will become clear to you in time.
Very
That's all
interesting.
right.
Very interesting.
We'll go. That could have been worse. Right, so we're going with the future. And we have, the Ace of Cups. This is good if I remember. You got this, didn't you?
Did I?
I think so. The Ace of Cups tarot guide.
We have a similar future ahead of us, Michael. We're good. We're good.
In a general context, the Ace of Cups tarot card in an upright position signifies new beginnings, usually in terms of love, empathy, compassion, and or happiness. When this minor arcana card appears, it indicates you'll be feeling happy, positive, and good about yourself. Now is a good time to begin new friendships and to get out there and socialise. People will be very receptive, kind, and friendly to you with this card appearing in your tarot reading. It can also be an indication of good news or celebrations coming your way.
Oh.
Very good. The future's bright.
The future's bright. All good.
That was good.
All good. Because there are bad cards in it. Like there's ones about like rape and sexual assault and stuff. So thankfully you didn't get those.
No.
Not on this reading.
No.
And how many cards is there in a deck?
Oh jeez, no 52 is there?
52 unusual decks, I'm not sure.
There's a lot there. Jeez,
There is a lot
there's
there,
about
isn't
100
there?
there, isn't
Yeah.
there?
There's a lot to it.
Mark, why did you want to do a reading?
I just felt like, I don't know.
All right.
Breed suggested it.
Are you going to
just
do
curious.
these now going forward? Is this going to be a kind of a
segment?
Is it going to be another business off Mark Health and Fitness?
I do Instagram page to be set up soon. Yeah.
Mark's card reading.
I'm gonna start wearing a shawl.
It all started here. You need a good hat for that as well.
Yeah. I do look like a tarot reader, don't I?
You have a bit about you already. Yeah.
You can go into the fortune telling, then the parish priest in Fern's not going to be too happy with me. I was in with him last week trying to organise a christening. Weren't you on a podcast doing
Magic.
I don't think that's good.
There are priests who read tarot cards, isn't there? Did you not tell me that?
Well, your man, shout out Mark Patrick Hedman.
Shout out Marc Patrick Hedman, the
He
monk.
wrote a book on them, and
He wrote,
he thinks that they're useful in navigating our way through life, but that we shouldn't treat them as if like the future is determined, that we have the power over it, not the cards.
Yeah.
So that's the full disclaimer now.
Yeah, I suppose it's an interesting one. You know, if people are kind of using them, maybe it can give them some. You know, maybe it can give hope. You know,
Yeah.
so there's probably advantages in maybe adjusting mindset with them. You know, if you get a good card for the future, that that sets somebody off thinking positively, and
Yeah.
you know,
Absolutely.
There's benefit there too.
Certainly. Yeah. Very well said. We were meant to have this in a pub, but I suppose we should talk about being in a pub. Now we're not sure if we will be allowed in pubs, but what is it about the pub that has given us momentum behind looking forward to going back to a pub?
I suppose the social aspect of it has to be, doesn't it? We're all closed off and you couldn't even go to home visits and things like that. So now that things are opening back up and you can go and socialise again, I suppose there is hope in that the world is kind of coming back to normal. Do you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's definitely the social aspect, and I suppose like if you're in a family situation and maybe sort of drinking at home might suit certain people if they have a bigger household and they've loads of people to socialise, but if you're talking to particularly people on their own and maybe an isolated couple will say. I think the pub it's definitely the social element, and people are saying, "Oh, the pubs will never come back after this," and there was all sorts of things being said. Why would you go to the pub when you can drink at home? But I think it has to be the social side of it.
Yeah.
There's and you're going, and I suppose we were talking about, I suppose, funny stories and kind of drinking and going out, and I think throughout college and whatever would have went out. I would have went out. A lot of people would have went out wherever they were based. Be it Dublin, Waterford, Limerick, wherever, Galway. And I think when you go out at home, it's different. There's something great about going out at home, going out in Gorey. I would have always, preferred to have a night out on the town in Gorey than maybe out in Dublin because of that social element, seeing people, that you haven't seen in a while, meeting Marc, having our weekly conversation, but it's, and I suppose McGovern's was probably a big pub when we were going out and growing up, and you could almost tell who was in McGovern's before you went into it, and you could nearly tell where they were going to be. There was X amount of people stood at the top bar above the steps, others below, and then obviously there'd be, there's going to be people there from, I suppose outside the Gorey and people that you wouldn't have met before. But I think there is that, there's that kind of community in a sense of community in a small place, and going out in a town like that. That definitely has to be considered, and that we're not getting, that we've lost by being in lockdown.
There are shared traditions as well. I think Basil sent us in that it was the trail of where he'd go. So Bob's, and then over to the Fowler, and then up to Brown's exotic place, and maybe back to McGovern's. And you can recognise with that trail, because I think that's what a strength of Gorey, in that there's a natural, every pub is offering something different, and that you can go on a bit of a crawl as such.
Yeah, and there's always that, I suppose the big crawl was probably always the 12 pubs, but aside from that, you do have, there's kind of the beginning of the evening where you might start, in the bridge or the coach house or somewhere kind of quieter, and as the evening goes on, then you move on up the town. But there definitely is, and that probably changes over time, but it's definitely, there's for sure there's something in that,
Yeah. When I was eating out first there last week or the week before, I was just struck by the delight of just seeing other people in the same space. You take it for granted, don't you?
It's weird, isn't it? Me and Brie got lunch at the coach house there yesterday, and even we noticed it's weird to even just be around that many people, sitting around talking. And it's strange to think that would ever be foreign to you,
Yeah, we were out there as well last week, and sitting outside and chatting with Nicola, and Nicola was saying you'd almost think you were doing something wrong. You're sitting there and you're wondering, gee, should I be here? And then you're kind of mask on walking around, or if you're going to the toilet or whatever, and then mask off when you sit down. But I mean, it's mad to think, in the space of a year, that something that was so normal, that you go to that extreme, to think that you're actually, you're almost in a position of thinking that you're doing something wrong by being out, But for sure it'll be good to have them back now, whenever that happens.
Yeah. My drinking days are beyond me, I think. I went to the Anchor last night. I'd say I had maybe 4 or 5 pints and 2 Malibus. And I was shook this morning.
Jenny.
Yeah.
It's because of the variety. I've always very interested in what causes a hangover or whatever. Do you think it's because you had a contrast between the Malibus and the Guinness?
No, I was Heineken actually.
Heineken.
But no, I still would have been hungover if I just had Heineken. I think I was just getting old. Whereas when you're 18, 19, you can go out and drink and then do a day's work the next day, not bother on you, or you go play a match or something. But Jesus, I couldn't do anything today now. Yeah.
Yeah, it definitely doesn't affect your. It doesn't affect you as much when you're younger now. And like I suppose, look, I have a couple of years on you even, but I definitely did notice, and I think especially because. You know, you probably don't drink. You know, the period between, say, a session that you might have might be the same, but I think that probably affects you more. I think if you're kind of maybe drinking every weekend, you maybe don't get a hangover as bad when you're older, but maybe when the durations are longer, also mixing drinks is a big thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think definitely you begin to suffer for sure. That little bit more. I mean, yeah, and yeah, I suppose, yeah, it's kind of when you're going out and you're beginning maybe, and this would happen maybe a couple of years again for myself with the drinking days being beyond you, but when you're going out and you're not kind of recognising the crowd as much, or the crowd is becoming diminished, I suppose you're kind of, yeah, as you say, maybe the drinking days, you're getting old at that stage.
Yeah.
That's
For
good.
sure.
Yeah. Sean, you mentioned that you have a love for Eminem.
I seen the video that she had posted of Eminem doing Dancing at the Crossroads.
Oh, right. So that was it.
It was
It was a bit random.
I was, yeah. I know. I'd be, yeah, again, like, be a fan of, I suppose, all things music and a lot of different, you know, I'd listen to some, you know, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s stuff, like a wide variety. But yeah, for sure, I'd listen to Eminem now. That'd be good. Did I see something? You were going into a DJing partnership, Tomorrowland.
This man has decks.
I have decks, yeah. Yeah.
Dimitri Halpin and
like Michael.
and like Mike Dwyer.
I love
Is
it.
this happening? This is what the people want
Let's
to
go.
see.
I think we could do it.
I would love to go to Tomorrowland.
Would you?
I would love it.
Yeah, it'd be right up your street.
Probably the day element. So yeah, I would was. I still want my sleep or whatever.
You'd want to be home early.
tomorrow.
Getting a bit tired now. Can you turn it down? I'm trying to sleep.
Yeah, Tomorrowland, it looks like the ultimate festival. You're always kind of drawn to these highlight reels that they put up.
Yes.
I remember during college there was we used to be, it's probably not a great thing to listen to when you're trying to study, but there's these highlight reels of, you know, of the Tomorrowland festival, and it used to be always listening to it, and again threatening to go, but never been. Tricky enough one to get tickets to, I think.
I believe so, yeah. They're
Yeah.
expensive enough as well. I think
Really?
it's a 2-year wait or something.
You have
like
to
that.
be, well in advance. But we're going to get in with you when you're
Yeah,
headlining.
We're on it.
On the main
Tuesday's
stage.
episode 59. Yeah,
Yeah. We'll have DJ Keno for our warm-up act.
that sounds doable.
This
yeah.
is where it all
Absolutely
started. Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. Sean, you did a running challenge lately. What was that like?
Yeah, in February there I did 100 miles for the matter. Yeah, no, it was very, very good now. Definitely, you know, it was trickier than I expected, because I think, you know, that kind of 100 miles in a month, I think there's a limit. There's definitely a limit where it becomes probably a bit tougher. But I think, yeah, the 100 miles in a month for the Martyr Foundation now, a fantastic cause, and was absolutely delighted with the sport that I got there as well. But yeah, I did the 100 miles, and yeah, it's 160 kilometers. So like that in 30 days, you kind of, you know, it's probably, you know, it's a little over 5k a day. And February's a shorter month, so it's maybe a little bit more again. So you kind of have to be keeping on top of that. I think the key is, Kevin Morris actually said to me, the key to it is, I think he did it last year, he was saying run every day and don't miss a day, and don't get to the stage where you're trying to play catch up. Because I think if you're playing catch up in a situation like that, you have to do a lot of miles, and then the legs are probably getting tired. But yeah, I ran it out now. It was good. I never really liked running, and I suppose it's probably an acquired thing. Like I think you have to kind of get into it. I did a lot of cycling back in the day. I did a bit of racing when I was a teenager, but running wasn't something, like, aside from, you know, the GA pre-season stuff and kind of GA stuff in general, I probably wouldn't have done any sort of solo running. So it was interesting for sure.
Yeah.
But
Well done.
yeah.
Would you look back with fondness on the push-up challenge that you did in Australia?
Yeah, it's nice to have something like that, isn't it? To make you go out for a fucking run or like do the push-ups, or you know, you're accountable to something. You know, you're doing it for charity, or you have a cause behind it as well. I suppose helps. You know.
Yeah, I think that's, and like to do anything, like I think you have to sign up. You have to be accountable to something. You know, I was, when I was away in Malta in 2019, I was to do there was a triathlon. It was a half Ironman in Dunleary. And I had signed up to do that in August, and I did most of the training. I think I was like 12 or 14 weeks into sort of a 18 or 20 week training period. And I ended up sort of tearing my hamstring in the middle of it, so it all went away. But I think you need to have that, you know, sort of, I suppose, you need to have something to aim for. You need to have signed up for something, you know, to be like, if there's an end date then, or there is an accountability associated with that.
Yeah.
But
and it's just about showing up. Like when you look at big shout out to
TJ Hamill.
Thank you, Marc. Yeah, he's completed day 365. I'd say by the time this goes out, 365 of 365 days of running 10k, and like it's an extraordinary commitment. And he did it even with a dog bite that on his thigh or calf. So like, yeah, it's just when you see a human being commit to something and do it and actually follow through on it, it's brilliant.
yeah, unbelievable. And that's, you know, that's significant. 6 miles a day, or just over it. You know, that's good running. It takes some doing, you know, and especially when you've, you know, if you do come up against an injury or a niggle, it's that's serious achievement.
Yeah. What have you taken from the podcast experience, Sean? Would you recommend it?
Yeah, no, it's been brilliant. It's been great to be here and chat, and yeah, no, for sure. Geez, you have a serious setup. I know I said it there when I came in, but yeah, no, it's been good. It's definitely been something new. I hadn't done it before. But,
yeah, exactly. But
great.
You've shown that there's a podcast in everyone, and there's you know, like you've been a great guest just to be able to talk about anything as if you had a pint in your hand.
Yeah, no, thanks to me. I suppose coming on there and maybe a bit nervous in the beginning, it might have been it might have been a head to have a pint in the hand, but no, great to get on, and thanks a million for having me.
Thanks, Sean, and all the best to your Nicola and the two chaps. And now we'll send you off with Liam Dunn.
Oh, very good. Very good. I read this book back in the day. So
did you?
An interesting one.
Do you want to pick a number, Sean, between 1 and 286? Is it 285?
Go with 201.
201. Oh. We wanted to go on holidays, but Tom Neville and Mick Jacob didn't want that at all. They were afraid we'd go on the tear in Spain and not be right for the replay the following week. In fairness to Castletown, they managed to put the match back for a fortnight, but our own mentors would have none of it. And despite the spate of meetings, Story and I were deprived of our holiday in the sun, a break we both badly needed.
There we go. A local shout out. Yeah, definitely sheds a bit of light on the old way, doesn't it? You know, the few pints.
It's Castletown of Laois in the Leinster semi-final. It's not our Castletown. We wouldn't put the match back.
Let the lads have their holiday.
I was a bit distracted by what happened on the other page. So we better call him Billy, I told Etna. The whole village thinks that's his name anyway. So that's Liam Dunn.
That's how Billy Dunn got his name.
That's Billy Dunn got his name because, I don't know. There's a lot more in that book anyway, but that's Liam Dunn for you boys and girls.
Yeah, great book. I think there was interesting. Didn't he have a relationship with Roy Keane? Wasn't there something between the two? I think Roy sent him a jersey, or was there? They knew each other. That was a
similar Robbie, no?
Interesting take.
Got a jersey off right.
Yeah.
I don't know the relationship there. How that came about.
I think because I suppose as books, having sort of read the two of them, they're very similar. I suppose you could probably do a similar
on the field.
If you run out of quotes from the Liam Dunn book, the Roy Keane one is probably a good one. I think the first one, but very honest, like, you know, for sure. But
good to know.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Yeah,
I think that's it.
That's it. Thanks, Sean.
Thanks a million, lads.
Pleasure.
Much appreciated.
Hey, Juan.